What's up, guys? It's Baron Corvo here. I am live on Twitch recording this right here. If you guys don't know that I stream on Twitch and you're just checking this out on YouTube, I would encourage you to please check me out on Twitch. That would be really awesome and I appreciate the support. But today we're here, and what with all the new version info we've been getting on Twitter and such, I thought I'd take this time that I have on Twitch to talk about changes that I'd like to see in the new version. So, to get us started, the reason I'm not already in the game is because the first change is a mechanical one, not a character change. And that is the change I would like to see to quick guarding. Now, I call it quick guarding. Anybody who's played Guilty Gear will probably be calling it instant blocking, but it is performed the same way. You just press the block right as an attack hits you. And in this game, what it does is it builds you meter. I actually went and studied this to see what the meter build looked like, and it is 2 meter for quick guarding lights, and then there's a unique property for mediums that builds you 4 meter, even though there are no technical medium buttons in the game. There are buttons that it qualifies as medium strength, so those build 4. Heavies build you 6, and then supers build you 50, and then specials also fall under the heavies category. So just listening to the numbers, the risk reward for quick guarding is not very favorable. So I would like to see that changed. I would like to see it either build more meter or do what most instant blocks do, and that is change what the pushback looks like, because a lot of normals in this game push you back pretty far, which is why they aren't punishable even though their frame data is super bad. And I think it meshed pretty well with the protect mechanic, but since we don't have it, I don't actually know that, and in fact it could actually be a little too powerful. So that is the first change that I'd like to see. But now, might as well just scroll through a list of characters and talk about what balance changes I'd like to see with this. So we'll start off here with Gengar. And the thing about Gengar is that I don't think he needs many changes at all. In fact, pretty much everything about Gengar is the way I wanted it. So I'm not exactly sure what I change about his kit as is, but one of his main weaknesses is his lack of a reliable anti-air move. Most of his good pokes that reach far don't really serve as anti-airs, as you can see. Even he doesn't, have a crouching anti-air. Most of his crouching moves are like, lows or sweeps, and so not having an anti-air can be a pretty glaring weakness, especially in this game where jumps are so strong. So with that in mind, his only anti-air is his up heavy punch, and as you can see, that's not very quick. It's very strong. It leads to some of his best combo damage, but that's not reliable, and so I'd like to see him with a faster, stronger anti-air. And as it happens, in the footage that we have seen, the images rather that we've seen posted on Twitter, he is definitely getting a new move to add to his kit in Nightshade, and it looks like it might be a fast anti-air. So maybe that will fix the problem of his lack of an anti-air. But yeah, so that's the change that I'd like to see Gengar have. All the rest of his stuff is really strong. His pokes are good, his damage is good, his super looks sick. I realize that's not exactly a balance thing, but style points don't hurt. So I think Gengar doesn't really need a large change to make him even cooler, even more fun character, because if he has an anti-air, he would probably skyrocket to up there with the top tiers, like Blaziken, like Lucario. He would have a reliable means of conversions and whatnot, and it would round out an already really fun and exciting character. So I think that's the only real change I'd like to see on Gengar, is to have that anti-air be nice and quick and reliable. So moving on, readying up the next character, we have Snorlax. And Snorlax's changes, I had to think about these for a bit because Snorlax is in a pretty good spot. He's obviously the grappler of the game, for those who don't know. And so he's a pretty polarizing character, and so with that in mind, there wasn't a ton that I thought to change for him. And so I actually went ahead and wrote down the things that I like to see. And one of those things is the fact that his command throw body slam actually has different situations depending on which character it hits, because their wake up timings are different. And so what I would like to see is it have its own sort of hard knockdown situation so that it's consistent across the entirety of the cast, rather than, oh, I get a great situation versus Gardevoir, but a terrible one versus Blaziken or Combustion or whatever. So that's one of the changes I'd like to see. I'd also like to see his jab be better, because it's just kind of slow and bad right now. That way he could stuff stuff with it, and have it another tool during footsies. So that's something I like to see for him. Now I'm gonna skip a couple, because there are a couple characters that I don't think need changes at all, and those characters are Breloom and Lucario. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, these are the two strongest characters in the game, why don't they need changes? Well, the answer is, I don't really want to see them brought down to the level of the other characters, but rather see the other characters brought up to their level. So it's not so much that they're too strong, but rather that the other characters are too weak, and I want to see that fixed rather than these characters be toned down. Now you could argue for adjusting the hitbox of Lucario's Force Palm a bit to make it more consistent in its connections, but there are combo routes to work around that, so I honestly don't think it's necessary. Another character who I don't think really needs changes is Blaziken, which is the last top tier. The only thing I'd like to see is his forward heavy punch become an overhead. So let me give you all a look at that real quick. So here's the move, but it is not an overhead. You can block it standing, but you can also crouch block. Hold on a second. So now he's crouch blocking, and it still gets blocked. So it doesn't have a unique use. It does do a sizable chunk of guard damage though. So that's the change I'd like to see for Blaziken. Some people would say that his combo damage is too much. I don't think so. It just, other people need this kind of combo damage. I think it's the style of the game. So that's another change I'd like to see kind of across the board, is I'd like to see more characters brought in line with big damage, which will kind of set up our next character. The next character on our list will be Combustion. And if you guys know anything about Combustion in this game, it's that he's bad. And he needs some help. There are two characters in this game that need some help, and Combustion is one of those characters. So we're gonna pull him and the other character that needs a lot of help up next. And that other character is, of course, Swan. So now, if you've been following me for a while, you will probably know that these characters suck. They are so bad. They are easily the two worst characters in the game. I believe Combustion outclasses Swallow by like the tiniest bit, because he just happens to have good pokes, but it's not by much. And so these characters are super unsafe in advantage during footsies, and then they have no tools at disadvantage either, because neither of them have reversals other than their super. And so one of the things I'd like to see for Combustion specifically is one of his main tools for poking and such is this quick attack right here. He can do it in air and on the ground. But looky there, it is not knocking over. He does not get anything off this. Even his best combo routes, when you do them right, because I haven't done them in a while, I'm sorry, Combustion sucks. He's not getting anything off of them. He's just getting this tiny chunk of damage and no situation off of it. He just is stuck without that. And don't get me started on this move here. This move is punishable on hit and on block, and his sweep is a better move than his crouching light kick, and that almost makes me mad. So I would like to see, at the very least, I'd like to see this get a bit of a damage increase, especially because his combos just don't, like, you see how long it takes him to KO people compared to the other characters that we've already shown who are good. It's very sad. So I'd like to see across the board damage increase for this character. I'd like to see his frame data overhauled, quite frankly, but at the very least, make this knockdown. Then he gets pressure, and then he can use this move. Now this move does a ton of block damage. Maybe Swallow has a stronger growth. You see that? That's a ton of block damage, and he can break shields pretty easily with it. But it actually is unsafe on block, which means his advantage state is just bad. He doesn't get anything off the guard crush. Like, what's the most he gets is super, and you know, that's great, but you have to spend meter for it, you're losing your reversal, it's just not worth it. So to recap more briefly, I'd like to see this at least overhauled. I'd like to see this knocked down, or excuse me, I need charge. This knocked down. That said, this could knock down too. And I would like to see this move here be at least +1 on block. Now, Swalot's problem comes from his gimmick. Now, let me see if I can... Hang on, let me actually just take us out of here, because it makes more sense if I actually have it there to show. Thank you, Type Wild Training Mode, for being garbage. This is another change I'd like to see in the new version, a better training mode. Okay, let's swallow changes. This thing is a sack of sadness, and it needs to be helped. So this is gimmicks, stockpile. And when you press both punches, that was the input. I completely forgot. I have not played Swallow in a very long time, because once I figured out how bad he was, I didn't feel the need to. But as you can see, he has the little charges there in the corner. And so, then you can do, you can swallow him to heal, which you can't really see because I have full health right now. You can do a fireball motion to use spit up, or you know, you can save them and try to stockpile more. But here's the thing about stockpiles. You get hit, you lose them all. All of them. All three of them. And this is just horrible. You should not... I am not opposed to the idea of losing a stockpile. That's not the problem. The problem is that you lose all of your stockpiles, and then you have to get them all again. Now, this would not be the end of the world if he could reliably get stockpiles. But he can't, because he has no combos. So his only means of knocking down is via his command throw here, or his sweep. Which means it's just kind of stuck, because both of those are super risky, and look at how little range this sweep has. Like, that's very, very bad. Like, this compared to Blaziken's is so bad. So here's what I would change about Swallow. The first thing is I would make sure that he has reliable combos into knockdowns. And one way I would do that is I would make these normals that involve, like, pincer here. You see how he just kind of spits out this pincer, which is hilarious, by the way. I would make these, like, target combo into each other. Like, right now they don't even regular combo into each other. I personally think it would be so cool if he just stayed out there and target comboed stuff. I think that'd be sick. And then he would have a reliable way to knock down, get the stockpile. Simple as that. I would also make this special cancelable. It's not. Neither is this, or this, or this, or this. He has no special cancels. Please give this man some special cancels. But if he had some, he would have a reliable way to dump his stockpile, which, by the way, is actually really good in terms of frame data, in terms of damage output. It's a really good tool. And then he even gets like Hyper Beam with 3 stockpiles and a huge amount of health if you swallow them. So, to recap, combos into knockdown, pincer target combos, specifically. Special cancels on anything. And once you've done that, then you can look back and decide, do we get rid of all the stockpiles when he gets hit? Maybe you still do, because stockpile is really good. So, if you find that with the other changes, the character is good enough, then leave the stockpile thing. That's fine. But he needs to be able to threaten an attack or his command throw to have any place. And so those are the changes that I would make to swallow up the stack of sadness. Alright, now we are almost out of characters here. So let's wrap things up with the last couple characters. Gardevoir and Lopunny. Now, Gardevoir is obviously a zoner character, or maybe not obviously, but you know, now I've told you, it's a zoner character. Her projectiles are really good, her specials are really good. Her problem is more so the fact that she can't really combo to push people away. I would like to see her be able to combo into a knockdown as well, and also be able to combo into super. But other than giving like her heavy punch normals special cancels, and then maybe making her light kicks combo into a sweep, there isn't much I would change. And then with Lopunny's thing is the fact that she has 3 whole jumps, and so if you get into the air and you mix up your opponent's anti-air timing, you hit them for a lot of damage, and so she doesn't need a ton of changes either. But the problem is she can't get into the air safely a lot of the time, because the opponent just gets to come out at her and use their good normals to keep them out of the air. So what I would do is I would change her standing heavy punch, which uses her ears and just like that, and her standing heavy kick to have use in footsies, so that she could actually threaten a knockdown and then get her air mix-ups set up. But with that covers everybody. Let me know in the comments what kind of changes you might like to see to the balance, to the mechanics of Type Wild. What other things you might be looking forward to, features. I'm obviously looking forward to Mewtwo. But that is going to be it for this live recording. Be sure to join me on twitch.tv/BaronCorvo to catch future ones. But that's going to do it. See you guys next time.